and welcome to Weird Around Illinois. You know, I was watching a TV show the other day. It had a kangaroo on it. And as we were watching it, there were a couple of us who said, wow, that kangaroo looks like Dogman. And it got us to thinking, could people be mistaking a kangaroo for Dogman? Let's find out, and let's get weird. So, for starters, there are some very strong physical similarities between a kangaroo and Dogman. First, some kangaroos can have a really surprising height, like over 6 feet. I think one of them was even like up to 6'9". That's right into Dogman range, because Dogman is like 6 to 10 feet.
Yeah, and I remember a few years ago I saw like videos of it or something, and I was like, wow, that's almost as tall as Dogman.
Yeah, exactly. And they usually walk upright. Kind of like Dogman. They can run on all fours or they can walk upright, but usually when you see a kangaroo, he's standing up. They've got the long snout, like a canine snout. Ears are a little longer than you usually see on Dogman, but they do have a similar shape. And then the color, they've got, unless it's like a red kangaroo or something, it usually has what I would call a deer-like color, like kind of a light brown, which a lot of Dogman sightings have.
Yeah.
And then you've got that great speed and leaping ability that would allow a kangaroo to basically disappear from your vision in 1 or 2 jumps. Kinda like Dogman.
Both those creatures are in the darkness. It's going to be hard to spot them and see exactly how it's traveling.
Yeah, and just another general physical similarity. I mean, a lot of people describe a kangaroo as having an upper body like a really built human. Like very muscular chest, and exactly what we hear about Dogman.
Yeah.
Back to the speed, I think I remember reading that it can go like around 40 miles per hour. But I've still heard that Dogman go faster, so...
Yeah. Still, 40 miles an hour is pretty darn fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though, there are some differences between the two. And one of them is, one is dumb, one might be a little bit more intelligent.
Yeah. With a kangaroo, I remember reading something about this guy from Australia was talking about kangaroos, and he said, if you run into a kangaroo, he's going to stare at you blankly and scratch himself until you get really close to him, then he'll realize you're taller than him and he'll take off.
Yeah, it's like any other animal. It's very similar reactions.
That's not a Dogman reaction.
No, a Dogman isn't really scared of anything, most of the time.
Yeah. But he is smart enough to get out if he knows that he's outnumbered or somebody has a gun or something like that, whereas kangaroo just kind of stands there.
Yeah. Another thing is that is one of the two can be loud. I'm not sure if a kangaroo makes many sounds.
Not like a Dogman sound.
Yeah, a Dogman clearly makes a lot of howls, maybe a few grunts, a lot of chomping noises as well if you happen to catch them on the road eating a whole deer.
Right. Or a kangaroo.
Oh, yeah, them too. I guess they are kind of similar.
Yeah.
I can imagine its hopping probably makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Dogman, when I think of Dogman, I imagine him always showing his big, very sharp kind of teeth. It's very noticeable.
Yeah, literally canine teeth.
Yeah, canine teeth is the right way to describe it. Meanwhile, a kangaroo doesn't... it has a similar kind of snout, as you said, a long snout, but it usually doesn't show its teeth, does it?
No, and its teeth are more flat and rounded. It's a vegetarian. So it's not really designed for ripping and tearing into meat. And
as you were explaining before, a kangaroo is most likely going to run away if you go close to it and you're a little bit taller. So it's not as aggressive as you would assume a Dogman to be.
Right, and not territorial. It's not like, if you walk into a kangaroo's area, you're in trouble.
It's just kind of chilling most of the time.
Yeah.
I've actually heard that a lot about Dogman too. They just stare at you if you're in the territory.
Really?
They almost try to intimidate you to get out of there.
That could be a similarity.
Can you tell the difference between an intimidating stare from an animal or a blank stare from an animal? That's the question.
Yeah.
And a final reason why it could not be Dogman is kangaroos have very short arms. Usually they're kind of tucked in a weird way, not like a Dogman. In images, Dogman always has these long, clawed, strong arms, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. Although I will bring attention to the drawing that Linda Godfrey got from one of the Dogman sightings, where the Dogman was holding the piece of roadkill and eating it. He was holding it like a kangaroo. I mean, he had his arms folded up really close to his chest, and I find that kind of interesting. Although, again, his arms were longer, they were just folded up like a kangaroo.
So could that be a aggressive carnivore version of a kangaroo?
Well, we should get into that later, because that's another topic that I want to discuss, the possibility that we might be dealing with a whole new variant here. But first, why don't we talk about some of the sightings that there have been of actual kangaroos, particularly like in the Midwest, in Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah, well, they go back to 1899. There's been a whole lot of sightings of kangaroos, and specifically in Wisconsin, I've seen so many different articles of different kangaroo sightings, and it's just so weird because you don't often hear about kangaroos in the wild.
No,
not here in Wisconsin.
I guess it's because people keep them as pets, and there are zoos that they escape from and things like that. When I looked at those sightings, I saw, well, first of all, it was all over the state. It was, you got them in Richmond or New Richmond back in 1899. You got Waukesha in 1978. You got Grand Chute in 2015. One is stolen from a zoo, and then in 2017 there's one sighted in Grand Chute, but the zookeeper claims it's a different one. And then 2019 was Grand Chute. 2017 was Kenosha County, which there's plenty of woods in Kenosha County. I could see a kangaroo living there. Also, somewhere in that time frame, there was one sighted around Chicago.
So these kangaroo sightings, you could already consider those cryptids alone.
You really could. Although we know for a fact that there are kangaroos in these places because people keep them as pets, like exotic pets. They get special licenses for them, and there are zoos that they escape from, and sometimes they're being shipped from one area to another, and they escape during shipments. So there are explanations for why there would be a kangaroo in Wisconsin. What always kind of surprises people, though, is that the wild ones, that they could survive a Wisconsin winter. Because in Australia, the coldest it gets in the winter is 40 or 50 degrees, whereas Wisconsin, you can get down to negative 30. So.
Yeah, I was reading an article and it was saying they basically couldn't survive Wisconsin weather during the winter.
But again, that assumes that they are going to be, out in a burrow somewhere in the woods. I mean, what if the kangaroo is... what if they find a comfortable dumpster under a heat lamp next to a building or something? I mean, there's so many places you can go. Think of where people survive, homeless people in Wisconsin, and in any major city for that reason, or any major area. People aren't designed to live in negative 30-degree weather, but they do.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I looked at Michigan, I only saw one sighting.
Yeah, I didn't get to Michigan yet.
Oh, okay. There's not a ton. It's just that one sighting. It was a escaped pet. They tracked it down, and they were able to confirm that this was an escaped pet in Michigan. But again, with Dogman sightings in Michigan in that era, around 2022, they could have been seeing a kangaroo.
From our travels in Michigan, we did not find the runaway kangaroo.
We did not.
True.
But we didn't find Dogman either.
No.
So let's get back to your idea from before. The idea that there's this carnivorous, slightly larger kangaroo out there. Well, let me give you one odd fact to start with. Kangaroos and humans have a common ancestor.
That's horrible.
Yeah. It goes back about 150,000 years, but there was a creature that at some point was the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother to both species, and they diverged. And with that in mind, there's a lot of similar DNA in a kangaroo to a human. So if we were to accept Dogman as being some sort of human-dog hybrid, why don't we take that back a step? It might actually be more likely that it's a human-kangaroo hybrid.
Yeah.
And then, we look at the idea that, maybe it develops carnivorous tendencies, and maybe it gets a little bit larger and a little bit faster. I think you could make an argument for Dogman actually being a kangaroo.
Yeah, it's a very unique perspective. It's just very rare, very hard to believe how there would be space for that to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it'd probably take a while, like a lot of evolution. But
And why would it be here instead of in Australia?
yeah, exactly. And it still leaves out the question of how it's surviving the cold and such.
Mhm.
Even if it is a super version of a kangaroo, essentially, it's
Well-
just hard to believe.
Well, let's take another one of our favorite conspiracy theories. Let's throw the military or government into this. What if, knowing that there's a common ancestor and common DNA, they said, hey, if we're going to build a superhuman, why don't we combine the DNA of humans and kangaroos, which will probably combine more easily than humans and dogs, and make this human that's able to jump further and run faster and be bigger and have huge claws and just generally be a massive destructive force.
Well, I'm thinking, what if they combined human, wolf, and kangaroo? That would be very deathly.
Yeah, that would be. There's Dogman. I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting. One of my favorite video games, Fallout, actually has a creature in it called a Deathclaw, which kind of looks like the kangaroo we're describing. It's like this huge, like 8 or 9 foot kangaroo with huge claws. It's virtually unkillable, and it's carnivorous and vicious and intelligent.
Oh. Does it have like a kangaroo-like head then? Or?
Yeah. Kangaroo head, kangaroo body, but just bigger.
All right.
Do they know something we don't? I know we talked about the people who made the movie Alien Romulus maybe knowing something we don't. Maybe all these people who are creating this content and creating these games and movies and things are actually getting information from somewhere.
Maybe.
Or maybe they're just like us and they like to put weird theories together.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, what do you guys think? Do you think there's a possibility that what people are seeing could be either an existing real kangaroo or some sort of hybrid kangaroo?
I think maybe the further away encounters, like from a distance, they might be kangaroos. But I think maybe the closer ones, it'd be harder to think that's a kangaroo if they see it that close, have such good detail.
So you don't think kangaroos replace Dogman? You don't think you believe that somebody is seeing an actual Dogman and some people are seeing kangaroos?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
Well, the human and kangaroo hybrid alone, it's a unique but believable view. I just recently heard about that idea, and I don't know, it just sounds more real than a wolf.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's possible that this hybrid kangaroo, whether it was created through natural evolution or whether it was created in a lab somewhere, really might be Dogman, essentially?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I can see validity to both of those points. I really don't have a strong enough opinion either way to say how I feel about it. I think what I would really like to do is try to track down some people who've seen Dogman and throw this theory at them and see what they say. Because if a witness were to say, you guys are out of your freaking minds, there's no way that was a kangaroo or hybrid kangaroo or anything else. But if a witness were to actually say, wow, I never thought of that before, that did kind of look like a kangaroo.
Yeah, if they considered it the face, let's say, if they considered it to be a kangaroo face instead, I mean, if they really thought about it, there could be a chance that they could be mistaken a wolf for a kangaroo face.
Yeah.
And especially if it was night, because then they can't really tell the differences as well.
I have to see if I know any police sketch artists. I feel like I need to get a sketch artist to draw what a human kangaroo wolf hybrid would look like.
Yeah.
And see just how much it compares to these sightings that have come about for Dogman.
Yeah. One more question I do have. Does a kangaroo and a Dogman have similar leg structure?
I think kangaroo legs are thicker,
Okay.
and I think their feet are much bigger.
But is it similar bone structure anyway?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got the same kind of elbow or ankle at the knee kind of thing that a dog has, where it bends backwards. I could be mistaken. I'm gonna have to look at that, but
Yeah.
I think it's similar. That's a really good question, though, because that is something that people clearly point out, that Dogman has that kind of backward bending leg.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be my only concern there. But if it is the same, that's certainly something to think about.
Yeah, good point. Well, if any of you have had encounters with kangaroos or dogman or kangaroo-human hybrids, by all means, let us know. And if any of you happen to be a police sketch artist, by all means, let us know. Or if you're just really good at drawing and want to send us a picture of what you think a human kangaroo-wolf hybrid looks like, that would be cool too. So, as always, thank you for listening, thank you for subscribing, and please tell your friends.